interesting. I put up a poll yesterday asking you guys, which SUV design do you prefer of companies that have just recently started to create SUVs, such as the Porsche Cayenne, Bentley Bentayga, RR, Cullinan, Lamborghini Urus, and the Alfa Romeo Stelvio. Unfortunately, YouTube only allows 5 options. I wanted to add more, but these are the ones I added. And as you can see, the Bentley Bentayga is not doing very well in this poll. So, what does that tell me? I think it means we need to redesign it. Alright, so here it is, the Bentley Bentayga, and I want to compare it, first of all, to the Continental GT up there, which, by the way, I love. It has this Art Deco feel to it. It's simple geometries that work well together. It feels like the mayor of Gotham City would be driving this car. It has this darkness to it, but at the same time it's very elegant. I really love the updated version of the Continental GT. But then, boom, we jump into the Bentayga, and something just went wrong here. First of all, I did the poll that I was talking about earlier, and it's interesting because I feel the same way, that the Bentayga is not a very it's not a very good looking car. It looks swollen, not swollen, and those two are two very different things. One is good, one is not so good. This looks swollen, and we don't want that on a Bentley. It looks kind of too fluffy and too swollen, basically. I don't have any other word for it. Why is it then that this kind of design works well on the Continental GT up here in the front, but it doesn't work as good on the Bentley Bentayga? Well, first of all, since this is the first SUV of Bentley, there's always going to be a disconnect when you see, so if you have a car company that's been manufacturing specific cars in a specific segment for a long time, and then all of a sudden they start to create SUVs, if they've created sports cars and coupes for a long time, which is what's happening a lot now with Aston Martin is coming out with one, Ferrari is coming out, Lambo is already out with it, Urus. What happens is when you first see these cars, they are going to look weird because something is not right. And of course that's how we're going to think, because we're not used to seeing a Bentley as an SUV. But this has actually grown on me since the first time I saw it. It's starting to look better and better. But of course there are some problems that we can address. The thing here is I'm gonna redesign this car. There are 2 ways that we can move ahead with this redesign. One is the easy way, one is a bit harder way. I'm gonna show you both ways. We're not gonna focus on the easy way. We're gonna go and do it the hard way, and I'm gonna explain what all this means later on in the redesign video. But now let's talk about the Continental GT, why it works here and why it doesn't work here. To me, we have this wider grille, first of all, on the Continental GT. This distance right here is wider than this distance right here, and I think I know why they did that. It's because you want the Bentley Bentayga to look like it's higher off the ground because it's an SUV. So instead of focusing on the width of the car graphically, they don't want to extend the grille too much because that's going to put attention on the width of the car. Instead, I think they kept the height. It looks like it's the same height, but they made it more narrow. So the problem that I have with the Bentayga is that graphically in the front, everything looks too cramped. Everything looks like it doesn't have any room to breathe. For example, these headlights look like I want this surface right here. I want every piece of design, every design feature of this Bentley to have more room around it. So what I'm going to do is I'm gonna lower this part right here. This black part is going away. This top, I'm gonna lower it all the way down here. That means that we have more body surface that will cover that part. Same, of course, on the other side. And that will also give the headlights and this light up there, it's gonna give it more space to just breathe and not look too close to the hood and so on. And it's also going to give a more width. I want to focus more on the width on the Bentayga, even though it is an SUV. I just think it looks better. So the grille, I'm gonna extend the grille, make that wider, work on this angle right here. We have that angle. I want it to be more horizontal because that will also emphasize the Art Deco feel of the car, more like in the Continental GT. And if we widen this grille, that means that we have space to move this headlight this way. So I'm going to do that as well. Move the headlights out a little bit because I think they're too narrow. And I want to, as I said, put focus on the width of the car, not have everything be smashed together in the middle, because everything graphically is pointing towards the middle of this car. And that just makes it feel like we have a surface here that we can work with and have some graphics out there as well. And that's what I'm going to do by moving the headlights outwards and kind of at the edge of the fenders of each side of the car. So that's about it for this initial brief of this redesign. And now let's get to work and let's jump into the actual redesign of this car, and let's see if we can maybe work on this Bentayga and make it look a little bit Art Deco-ish. Now, before we get into the sketching part, just make sure you hit the subscribe button if you haven't already. That way you get notified when new videos are uploaded every single week. Remember when I said that there is one easier way to redesign this Bentayga, and then there is one way that's a little bit more tricky. So I'm gonna explain both ways right here. I'm gonna start by showing you the easy way out of this redesign. And if we wanted to play it super safe, all we gotta do is figure out what are the unconventional design elements in the front of the car, and then we simply remove them and make them into some generic conventional designs. And that's exactly what I'm doing right here. I'm removing the weird looking round headlights, the two circles that are two different sizes in two different spots in the front, and I'm just replacing them with a simple rectangular, almost rectangular headlight. And this, to me, could work. It looks good. I mean, if we just adjust the height of the headlight and if we fiddle a bit more with the design of it, we could make this work. But to me, this is almost like cheating, because we take away what is special and unique about the Bentayga, and to me that is specifically those round headlights. So I want to keep those, but at the same time work and figure out what it is that it's not working at the current design, or what we can do better is a better way to putting it. It still works. Some people love this car, and I mean, it's growing on me too, but I think there are ways that we can make it more pleasing to look at while still using the original design features of the car. So I just wanted to quickly show you this, and after we're done with this, we're going to jump into the proper redesign of this Bentayga. So the approach to this redesign is very simple. It's to keep all the design features that are currently in here, but move them around in a way that gives the front more space and also emphasizes the width of this Bentayga more. Because right now I think everything, all the graphics, they are too focused in the center of the car, which, as I said in the intro, that will give more focus on the height of the car. And since it's an SUV, I think that makes sense. But to me, I think it looks better if we have it more wide, even though it's probably the same width or even wider than a Continental GT. But visually, it doesn't look that way. And that's exactly what I want to change in this redesign. I think it's really interesting to see all these car manufacturers nowadays jump into the SUV segment. It's like some of them just panics and think, holy crap, now everybody's making an SUV. So we got to figure this one out as well. And it's cool to see how they kind of try to solve that design problem that they face when they've been doing supercars for 50 years, and then all of a sudden they need to jump in and make an SUV. The one company that I really think succeeded with this, it's been a journey for sure. It's been a progress. The first variation of it was not very good looking, or not good looking at all actually, and that is the Porsche Cayenne. I really like the new version of the Cayenne. I think it's one really good example of how a design evolved over time, and them trying to figure out how because Porsche is such a, it has such a unique design language, so I can't imagine the challenge when they went through when they figure out that we need to make an SUV, and how they're going to take that basically the 911 silhouette and turn that into an SUV. So they did have some problems with the design language in the beginning, but right now the design, the new Cayenne, it looks mature, and I also love the Macan. I love the first version too, but now they updated it, and of course they added, guess what, in the rear? Yes, they added the light bar like everybody else. But that's fine because it's Porsche and they've had it for a long time with the 4Ss. The 911 4S has always had a light bar in the rear. So they can kind of get away with it, I guess. But Porsche is one of these companies that I really like how that transformation turned out. So let's see, what other SUVs did we have in the poll? We have the Lamborghini Urus, the Alfa Romeo Stelvio, the Rolls-Royce Cullinan, and the Bentayga, of course, and the Porsche Cayenne. So the winner of this poll is, to me, surprisingly, the Alfa Romeo Stelvio. It's, I don't know, it is an okay-looking SUV, but I just think that Alfa Romeo has this issue with the wheels and the wheel wells. I don't think the wheels really fit. The size of the wheels, it needs to fill out the wheel wells more. I don't know if it's the size of the rims or the tires or the whole package that just looks a little bit off. But other than that, it's a good looking car, I guess. It's kind of, to me, I think it looks kind of generic. I think it looks kind of generic. If I had to pick one out of these, I think it's the Cayenne. That's the winner. I do like the Urus too. I don't know if you can really call it an SUV. I guess you can, because it is an SUV, but is it in the same segment that all of these rest SUVs that I mentioned? I don't know about that, because it's more of a sports car than it is an SUV. But I think they made a good transition going from supercars and implement that design language to create an SUV in the Urus. I think they worked out pretty well, as long as they just remove those graphic forks in the front grills. I just can't stand that. It looks very cheap. I want all of that color, those coloring forks in the in the front. I want them to be black on every single Urus from now on. Can somebody make that happen, please? That would be fantastic if you can do that. So there we have it, guys. That's the redesign of the Bentley Bentayga. This is one of those cases where tiny changes sometimes make a huge difference when it comes to the design and the looks of a car. I personally like the result of this car. Let me know what you think about this redesign. Do you like it? Was it too much? Do you prefer the original? Let me know in the comments below. Thank you so much for spending a few minutes with me today. I'm the Sketch Monkey. Don't forget to keep sketching, and I will see you in the next video. Take it easy.